For most of human history, Pluto was nothing more than a faint point of light, invisible to the naked eye, lost among millions of distant stars. A world so remote that no one even knew it existed until the 20th century. Then, in 1930, astronomers discovered a tiny frozen object orbiting far beyond Neptune. It quickly became known as the ninth planet, the mysterious frontier of the solar system. Generations grew up imagining Pluto as the final destination, the edge of the known planetary family. Today, we know Pluto is not the last world beyond Neptune, nor is it officially classified as a planet, but it remains one of the most fascinating places humanity has ever explored. A frozen landscape of nitrogen glaciers, towering mountains of water ice, and blue hazy skies suspended nearly 6 billion kilometers from the Sun, which raises an obvious question. If Pluto is part of our solar system, why did it take humanity so long to reach it? How long would it actually take us to get there? The answer is far more surprising than simply measuring distance, because traveling through the solar system is not like driving across a country or flying across an ocean. In space, distance is only part of the story. To understand why, we first need to appreciate just how far away Pluto really is. Earth orbits the Sun at an average distance of about 150 million kilometers. Astronomers call that 1 astronomical unit, or simply 1 AU. Neptune, the outermost major planet, orbits roughly 30 astronomical units from the Sun. Pluto travels even farther. Its average distance is about 39 astronomical units, nearly 40 times farther from the Sun than Earth. But that number hides another complication. Pluto's orbit is not a perfect circle. It is highly elliptical. Sometimes Pluto comes slightly closer to the Sun than Neptune. At other times, it ventures much farther away. Its distance from Earth therefore changes constantly as both worlds move around the Sun. Sometimes the journey is shorter, sometimes dramatically longer. Even under favorable conditions, however, the distance is immense. Radio signals traveling at the speed of light require several hours to cross the gap between Earth and Pluto. Imagine sending a simple message. Even light, the fastest thing in the universe, cannot deliver it instantly. That alone hints at the enormous scale involved. Now imagine sending a spacecraft. Unlike light, spacecraft are slow, very slow, compared to cosmic distances. At highway speeds, reaching Pluto would require hundreds of thousands of years. Even the fastest passenger aircraft would need centuries. Clearly, humanity needed something far more powerful. That opportunity arrived in 2006. NASA launched New Horizons, the fastest spacecraft ever sent toward Pluto. At launch, it left Earth traveling at nearly 58,000 kilometers per hour relative to our planet, fast enough to cross the continental United States in only a few minutes, fast enough to leave Earth's gravitational influence with remarkable speed. And yet, even traveling that fast, the journey still required 9.5 years, nearly a decade. Think about that. A spacecraft moving faster than a rifle bullet, powered by one of the most energetic launches ever performed, still needed almost 10 years to reach Pluto. The reason lies in orbital mechanics. Space missions cannot simply point toward a destination and accelerate continuously. Fuel is limited. Gravity constantly changes a spacecraft's trajectory. Every mission becomes a carefully choreographed dance involving planetary motion, launch windows, and the physics of orbital energy. New Horizons also received assistance from Jupiter. About a year after launch, the spacecraft performed a gravity assist. Passing close to Jupiter, it borrowed a tiny fraction of the giant planet's enormous orbital momentum. The maneuver dramatically increased its speed without consuming additional fuel. Gravity assists have become one of the greatest tools in planetary exploration. Rather than fighting gravity, Engineers use gravity itself as propulsion. Without Jupiter's help, New Horizons would have taken even longer to reach Pluto. But even after arriving, the mission revealed another surprising reality. It never entered orbit. Many people assume spacecraft simply arrive and begin circling their destinations. Not this time. New Horizons was moving far too quickly. Slowing down enough to enter orbit around Pluto would have required enormous amounts of fuel, far more than the spacecraft could carry. Instead, it performed a high-speed flyby, passing Pluto at roughly 14 kilometers per second. In just a few hours, it collected nearly all of its closest observations before continuing deeper into the Kuiper Belt. Humanity waited decades to reach Pluto. The closest encounter lasted less than a day. And yet, those few hours transformed our understanding forever. Before New Horizons arrived, Pluto appeared blurry even through the most powerful telescopes. Scientists knew remarkably little about its surface. Many expected a heavily cratered frozen world, perhaps geologically dead. Instead, they discovered astonishing complexity. Towering mountains composed largely of water ice, vast plains of frozen nitrogen, layered atmospheric hazes glowing blue in sunlight, evidence of glaciers flowing across the surface, possible cryovolcanoes, unexpected geological activity on a world receiving less than 1,000th the sunlight reaching Earth. Pluto was not a frozen relic. It was an active world, one of the biggest surprises in modern planetary science. And that raises another fascinating question. Could we ever make the trip faster? With today's conventional chemical rockets, only modest improvements are likely. Reaching Pluto in 5 or 6 years might be possible under ideal circumstances, but reducing the journey to months would require entirely different technologies. Nuclear thermal propulsion, nuclear electric propulsion, advanced ion engines, fusion systems, perhaps one day even technologies that exist only on drawing boards today. Each promises higher efficiency or greater sustained acceleration. Yet every approach faces enormous engineering challenges. Deep space travel remains difficult not because humanity lacks ambition, but because the solar system is astonishingly large. Even the nearest planets are separated by distances that dwarf ordinary human experience. And Pluto is only the beginning. Beyond its orbit lies the Kuiper Belt, a vast population of icy worlds stretching farther into the darkness. Beyond that lies the hypothetical Oort cloud, a distant shell of icy bodies extending perhaps tens of thousands of astronomical units from the Sun. Compared with those regions, Pluto almost begins to look nearby. Perhaps the most remarkable part of the journey is psychological. For thousands of years, the outer solar system existed only in imagination. No human being had ever seen Pluto up close. Entire generations lived and died knowing it only as a tiny moving dot. Then, after nearly a decade of flight, one spacecraft finally crossed the immense gulf. And suddenly, the unknown became familiar. Mountains received names. Glaciers revealed intricate patterns. Valleys, cliffs, plains, and ancient impacts emerged from what had once been a blurry pixel. A distant mystery became a real world. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson Pluto teaches us. Distance changes our perception. From Earth, Pluto seems almost unreachable. A lonely object drifting at the edge of the solar system. But with enough patience, careful engineering, and a willingness to think across decades instead of days, even the most remote destinations become accessible. Not quickly, not easily, but eventually, because every great voyage begins with accepting a simple truth. The universe is unimaginably vast, yet step by step, mission by mission, generation by generation, humanity continues crossing distances that once seemed impossible. And somewhere in the darkness beyond Neptune, a small icy world still circles the sun, waiting for the day when another spacecraft, or perhaps even another generation of explorers, makes the long journey once again.